Hello everybody! Look who's back and welcome. It is Nico Iona with Gypsy Juice Intuitive Tarot, back with your collective spirit animal, collective energy reading for today, for this month. I hope everybody's been doing well. It is the end of February right now, although my readings are timeless. So for those of you who are new, we always pick one or the other. I usually do a card. I'm going to switch it up today. And I busted out some crystals. So at the risk of sounding very foolish, well, at the guarantee of sounding very foolish, I don't know anything about these crystals, gemstones. I don't remember the names of them, but all the better. You're just gonna pick the one you're drawn to. So I got this tall, very beautiful pink. It's really cool. It's kind of phallic. It's pink. I love it. It's sweet. And then this one, which is equally awesome. It's kind of dark in here. I hope you can see all the little orange growths and things on it. So I'm going to do a specific reading for each one, whichever one you're drawn to. I don't so much go off the zodiac. I know that's the conformist way of doing things and all of that, but you know, and it also takes a lot of work because you got to go through all the signs. So, you know, I do like once a month. So this is just as accurate, if not more so, I promise you. So here we go, and while you take a look at these, I have a little announcement to make as well. I'm going to update my pages, but I'm going to be offering personal readings for $25. And most of my audience comes from Facebook, I realize, so you can just shoot me a private Facebook message on my page, which is called Tattoos and Tarot at Gypsy Juice Tattoo. Yeah, just search it. You'll recognize it. There's a bunch of pictures and spiritual memes and all that kind of stuff on there. And if you just want to shoot me a message, we can connect. I'll send you an unlisted YouTube link. My personal readings are typically 10 to 15 minutes long. I do the medicine wheel spread. People go nuts when I give them to them. It's super worth it. $25. Send me that personal message and we'll arrange it. Done with the promotions. So anyway, I hope you had a moment to take a good look at these. See which one you're drawn to. And I'm going to give a personal reading for each as your collective energy reading. All right? So we're going to start with this pink phallic tower right here, all right? Boom. Okay, so I'm going to draw a spirit animal card first. Naturally. Let's see how this goes. I have to tell you, I met up with another reader today, and it upped my game. It was really great. I haven't had my cards read in a minute. I mean, at least 6 months by somebody else. And it just really refreshed me and got me going. So get ready for some magic. Get ready for some magic. It's been a magical day. All right. Okay, so the pink tall crystal, if you chose that. Here we go with the well, love that. That stuck like squirrel. Okay, so this is a card I am very familiar with. The squirrel number 26. And this is all about gathering information. It's like those breadcrumbs. When you're going along your life path, it's like one of my favorite songs. The lyric in it says, all the dreams as you're drifting out at sea, they start stacking up, right? So it's just things start to fall into place, right? So you've been gathering so far. It's that hibernation period that you're foreseeing. You're seeing something coming. Your soul is seeing something coming, and that's your whole life, right? So you're gathering those pieces of information, and that's all coming together, and that's all coming. All these pieces, don't disregard them. That's the message so far. It's every little shred of information you've picked up when you've had a thought and it rings true to you, or you've saved something for a while and then it comes in handy. Recognize that as a synchronicity. It's guiding you on your path, and it's all about surrendering to that flow. It's paying attention to those messages, all right? So that's kind of that squirrel's messages so far. So let's draw out of my oldest and supercharged deck. What have we got here for the pink tower? The squirrels who have been gathering. No. All right, I'm going to draw one. They're not jumping. We got no jumpers. The star. Upside down. The star upside down. It looks like we've been losing a little bit of hope. It's been getting it's been getting long. The journey's been getting long. You feel like you've gathered all of these things. You've worked really hard. It's kind of like a loss of hope. A loss of faith and a loss of hope. But so far, it's kind of like that star in reverse. It's always that message of don't lose faith. It's always that reconnect with that hopefulness. Reconnect with that childlike hopefulness, because don't you just love those jumpers? Because of love. Because of the beginning of love. Because of returned love. All right? This is the message of you are loved. It's like your guides are there. You have spiritual guidance. They're around you. If you're watching this message right now, this is a reassurance that you are very loved. You have guides. They're sticking with you. They're here to stay. They're not going anywhere. They're in the spiritual realm. And if you want to connect to them at any point in time, you can. And I have been having a lot of experiences with that lately. Just because a lot of changes have been taking place in my own personal life. Not to make it about me, but it's true. It's just, and we're all on this path. We're all connected, right? So it's when in those moments when you feel alone, all right, and you're losing hope, and you're just like, this is just for nothing. This is an exercise in just, this is in vain, right? It's these our path. When we come to a point where we're plateauing out and everything's getting really tedious, you have to realize that that's like training. It's just like, I mean, if you've ever worked out before and have gotten results later, you've never felt more horrible than when you were in the hardest workout of your life. So that's the same with our life's path, with emotionally and, just going through things. That's just like, how many more times do I have to go through this? And your message so far is just because you're gathering things, because you're collecting things that are going to benefit you along your path. And you're going to be so thankful that you picked that up. It's just, even, I worked at a gas station before. I've worked the craziest, most horrible, most miserable jobs. And I've come out of them, and skills that I've obtained from those miserable experiences have come in handy. So keep that in mind. That's your message, because it's just like you've gathered this stuff. You're tired. You started to lose hope, but that star is still there. That's that spirit of hopefulness, of faith, of knowing that everything's going to be okay, because that your soul knows that. Your soul knows it's eternal, and it knows everything's going to be okay in the long run, and it knows it's putting itself through that. You are the creator. All right? You're loved. You are loved, and if you haven't felt that in a while, believe you me, it'll be coming around again. So let's draw some cards out of the Art Nouveau. See what it has to say to you, squirrels. Let's get a little more specific, maybe. Let's get a little more specific. I feel like it's been a little bit vague so far. So, okay, so the Page of Wands. All right, so this is kind of, so the pages are sort of an immature, childlike energy, very impatient. That's the creative energy that might have been being stunted lately. So this is in the grind, in the rut, doing all these things you don't want to do, and you're feeling uninspired, and you're feeling kind of butthurt about it, to be honest with you, because this is kind of like that jealous energy, that just like, oh, well, nobody even cares, and I'm going to go and pout now, or I'm going to be passive aggressive, or I'm going to go into these shadow behaviors that really don't serve me. So I'm picking up that sense of energy right now. It's sort of that, think about that, think about that little kid that's not getting enough attention and does something rash to go pout in the corner. So be warned about that right now, all right? So, yep, we got the dolphin upside down. So this is a not slowing down. So what I'm getting here from this message with this upside down Page of Wands and the dolphin in reverse, this is needing to step back and taking a moment to understand that things are happening in divine timing, and even if they're seeming to take a really long time and way, 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 way too long, you need to step back and breathe. Breathing is so important, and that's a message of the dolphin. It's mana, it's breath, pranayama. You've got to, it's just, you've got to take that time to process those emotions. Instead of just acting out of a conditioned, comfortable way that you've learned. That societal conditioning, okay, it's just like sometimes, you know, it's just that little kid reaction of like, oh, if I go hide in the closet or hide under this table and make a big scene, then I'm going to get attention, and negative attention is still attention, and I know the fastest way to get it. Please avoid that right now. It is to just really try to connect with your higher self and try to understand that that's just not, it might get immediate results, but they'll be very cheap. They'll just be like little trinkets compared to what you can get out of it in the long run if you can just be self-reliant and understand how to breathe through it and process those emotions and deal with it in a little bit more of a mature manner. All right. So here we go. Let me draw, I'm going to draw one more card out of here, and then we're going to draw a chakra card to wrap it up if you chose the pink tower. All right. So what have we got? It didn't jump. It didn't quite jump. I don't know. Here we go. Oh, that one stuck out really nice. Okay. Ten of Wands. That's that burden card. So you're feeling burdened. All right. That really ties into that shadow behavior of being the martyr, of going and hiding away and being like, maybe I'll get attention if I hide away, and I act like this, you know, slighted, or I act like I don't care. It's this, I'm really getting this vibe of this passive aggressive energy of being aloof. I'm getting, you know, it's just like this aloof thing. It's just like, oh, well, if I go and hide away and I pretend like I don't care, you know, it's just, and that is all about fear of not being loved. But guess what? You're super loved. Rest assured. You're losing hope, but you're super loved. I mean, by a lot, I mean, especially by your spiritual guides. And sometimes that's very unrewarding to hear that, because it's just like, well, I want tangible love. I want recognition. I want someone to say it. I want someone to show it. I want a bouquet of flowers sent to me. I want this and that. It's no, you have to process the emotions and the energy that's coming through you, and tapping into that. It's a process, but once you do, you're going to understand. So anyway, don't hide under the table. Don't pout in the corner. You feel like you're very burdened. Okay. It's like this, this Ten of Wands, this Ten of Bones is like carrying these burdens. It's overwhelming weight upon your shoulders, carrying the weight of the world on you. So there's a reason for this passive aggressive behavior that's been coming out. Okay. Those of you that chose the pink tower, it's just this loss of hope. But you're very, I'm going to encourage you right now. Remember that every single little trial and tribulation that you have been through has been this little breadcrumb, like the Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs, right? You've picked them up and they're all going to come in handy. Trust me when I say this. It might seem like garbage right now, or it might seem completely useless, but it's going to come into play, and it feels heavy, right? It feels heavy, that Ten of Bones, that Ten of Wands. It's, but there's a reason for the heaviness, and there's a reason that you've picked all of these skills up. There it is, right there. Okay. What I said, I think I mentioned the throat chakra sometime before, maybe, but here we go. The blue, the bittersweet. So I'm gonna focus on the sweet, as I always do when I draw this card. It's so the main message of this card is it's gonna come out, and it's gonna come out wonderful, but it's not gonna be what you thought. So sometimes we get fixated on an end result, and it's just like, if I work this hard, I'm going to get this cookie, this trophy, this end of the rainbow thing. That's what I was expecting. That was the birthday cake that I ordered. No, you're not going to get that, but it's going to be something else, and it's going to be better for you. It's like you can't always get what you want, you get what you need, right? So, and I mean, but it's going to be what you want even more so. So in hindsight, you're going to step back and you're going to say, wow, I really wanted that. I really, really wanted that, but I didn't even know about what I actually needed. And when you find out what you actually needed, that's what you actually wanted. So that's the glorification behind that. So I really take that bitter part into consideration and understand that that was the bitter comes from not getting what you expected. But once you learn more and you walk farther along the path, you understand that what you expected is not even what you wanted once you learned more. It's just, you know, that education never comes cheap. It really never does. So anyway, if you chose the Pink Tower, I really want to encourage you right now that it's all good. It's just like you're feeling down, you're feeling hopeless. It's been rough. It's like this upside down dolphin. It's like you're not even feeling playful anymore. You're not even feeling like coming out and playing and being happy. It's hard to connect to happiness right now because this has been grueling. This all of this collection, all of these collecting the things that, you know, have been tough to collect. But you're loved, and you know it's you're loved even when you're hiding under the table. All right, I promise you really are. And you know you're feeling burdened. But it's going to come out. I really feel a lot of energy going on with this. We're in a Mercury retrograde right now. So there's a lot of stuff coming up from the past that's coming up to be resolved. Loose ends are being tied up, all of these other things. So you're going to be coming to a lot of realizations right now that it's just like, oh, that's why I didn't get what I wanted so badly. You know, it's just, it turned out in this different way. And I'm not saying that this is like a resolution. I'm kind of feeling like this is a beginning to a realization of what you've been waiting for, but that end result that you were expecting is not coming in the way that you thought. Okay, it could be like a completely different shift. It's kind of a transformation, but it's a bittersweet. It starts with bitter and ends with sweet for a reason. So I hope that resonated. For the Pink Tower people, I hope that did well. So next, we've got this, you know, I want to say it was a word like malachite or something like that when I bought, it was in this antique store. It was really fascinating in this glass case when I got it. It really stuck out. So it's a really interesting stone. It's like a growth. It almost looks like it's alive. So if you picked this one, here we go. We're going to start out with the spirit animal card first. Here we go. Ba, 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 ba. Feels good to be doing a reading. Pretty fun. Okay, spirit animal. Ooh, hawk upside down to start out with. So this is the messenger of the deck. So hawk carries the messenger. Who's the guy with the wings on his feet? Is it Mercury? Is it... I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, so the messenger of the spirit animal kingdom deck, the hawk in reverse. This gives the message of looking at things and looking away because they're too dark to look at them. So that's kind of, so if you're in tune with your signs and syncs and you're getting signs and messages that are repeating and you don't like them, you're going to turn the other way. You're going to roll your eyes. You are going to not want to listen to it. You're going to not want to stare at it because it's difficult to process. It's too dark to look at. That's all about what this hawk in inverse is all about. And on a lighter note, it could also be just like you don't even want to acknowledge it. So it might not even be a dark thing. It might be for some of you, but for others, it just might be like I disregard that. That's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. That's stupid. That's nonsense. As my dad likes to say, that's a bunch of drivel. So it's just like, but if you're getting repeating feelings or repeating messages, or you're seeing a number over and over again, trust me, look it up. It's going to have a message for you, and it's going to be able to be a key to your ascension. You're going to understand what the universe is trying to tell you. So believe me, if you're getting repeating numbers or a repeating image or a repeating animal or a repeating sign over and over and over again, and you're disregarding it, this is what I'm getting so far, you guys. So if you chose this, I mean, this is a pretty strong message. It's just like, pay attention to what you've been turning from. All right. So if it's something that, if it's on repeat, you're going to know. And it's going to, I've had this happen a lot to me where it annoys me. and I don't want to deal with it anymore because it's been on repeat for so long. And sometimes you just got to switch your perspective up and, look it up, or maybe talk to somebody that you respect, and they might give you a good idea to be able to resolve that. But a lot of the time that has to do with emotional processing too. So let's see what else it has to say. Oh, don't you love those jumpers? Oh my gosh. Okay, that is the 7 of Wands, or the 7 of Bones. So, wow. Okay, so in this deck, all right, like I said before, we are in a Mercury retrograde, which means for a lot of you, and I mean, maybe all of us, we're in a process of spiritual awakening, or the next level of spiritual awakening, or a little bump in the road, or maybe it's your initial spiritual awakening. And that one's really the bitch. So if you're in the initial one right now, please realize that this is, mainstream society, the government, the Matrix. We're just fed a bunch of lies our whole life is basically. So here we go. These dark messages, you're turning your cheek the other way to, or if you're further along or advanced on your path, understand that there's a lot of messages trying to come in right now, and they're all competing because there's a lot of guidance trying to compete to get your attention, especially when you start to wake up and you start to become attuned to reading between the lines and all of these other things. Understand that there's not just one source talking to you. There's a lot of them. So when people say trust the universe, it's a nice line and everything, but you have to be careful with that because it's like there's a lot of forces in the universe, right? So pay attention to your gut and understand who might be talking to you from that universal force, because we're radio transmitters, okay? So pay attention to how your gut feels when something's talking to you. If you have a not so good feeling, if it gives you this sketchy, weird vibe, move on. Pay attention to the music you're listening to, pay attention to the environment you're in, pay attention to the people you're around, and if it's less than savory, then switch it up before you start listening and digesting and processing any kind of advice that's esoteric or spiritual. All right? So if you're in an environment that's good, you're going to know. You're going to know when you're comfortable, and you're going to know when you're not. So understand that these dark messages, get where they're coming from, okay? Listen to your intuition. That's all I'm trying to say there. So, and it's also the 7 of Wands is like the card of competition and sometimes rivalries. That's kind of a 5 of Wands thing too. But the 7 of Wands, 7 of Bones. So I really get here with the combination of these cards. It's like guidance competing for your attention. Spiritual guidance competing for your attention. Okay? So let's move on with that, just so you're aware of that. That one took me a long time to kind of get down because, at first I just started listening to whatever was on repeat or whatever was bothering me or whatever else. But there's layers to it, okay? It's pay attention to your environment and your surroundings and the vibes that are surrounding you, because they can be pretty influential and they can be tricky. See. Woo! Like I said, justice in the reverse. So there could be some unfairness going on, especially like spiritual forces competing for your attention. It could be very unfair. All right. And it can be very confusing, and it can really get you. I pulled like 4 cards here, but I'm just going to go ahead and read them all. So the Lovers. So we got like harmony. Sometimes this card can mean good health too. So it's like watch your health. You know what the decisions are right for your health. That's a really easy black and white thing. It can also be like the choice, the distinction between 2 paths. So like I said, spiritual forces competing for your attention. And this could even be other people's higher selves sometimes. If you have a lot going on right now, this could be causing a lot of confusion for you. All right, so there's that, and then we've got the Hanged Man. This one is that energy of being in a rut, of being stuck, of feeling stuck, of not understanding what to do. And then we've got the 10 of Pentacles immediately following that. So that's that card of wealth, of comfort. So what I'm getting from the combination of these cards is just being stuck in a rut because of wanting to be financially stable. Okay, or wanting to be materially stable, being comfortable in your environment and not wanting to get uprooted or rustled up or what have you, whatever else. So yeah, I would definitely say you've got some confusion going on with your spiritual guidance. There's different forms of guidance competing for your attention, and you're a little bit overwhelmed right now. And it's unfair. All right, because some of us are unprepared to be able to discern what is best for us, because we're just so it can really stress you out. All right, so let's get a follow-up to that, because it's just like nobody wants their stability disrupted or any of that. So I'm gonna read this in this position. You need to be independent. You need to not take anyone else's actions into account and be wildly self-reliant is where your base plan needs to lie. All right. So that's that whole plan B thing, as far as you might be bouncing back and forth and not knowing who to trust and all of this other stuff. You don't need to worry about that. This card is that confirmation of, well, you fall back on self-reliance, basically. I'm not saying be a martyr, but just say, base everything off of what you can handle yourself. Does that make sense? So if you can handle it, if you say, okay, if everybody falls through, this is how much money I have in the bank and this is what I'm planning to do, can I still pull it off if everybody just disappears and lets me down? So it's kind of like that worst case scenario thing, because it kind of came out inverse and upright, but it's also the card of just absolute self-reliance, financial independence. So you know where that line is, and try to just separate the emotion out of that and be like, oh my God, it's so unfair. Don't worry about that. Worry about what you can do by yourself. How can you be self-reliant? And that's your message right there. And to conclude things, if you chose this sparkly rock, let's pull out one chakra card. Let's see what it has to say. Thanks for joining me. It's so much fun. I always love doing these readings. Okay, so I told you earlier I met another reader, so this is the card we pulled, and we talked about this card a lot. I love that it came out again. Completion, all right? So it's accepting the ending to something and accepting a new beginning, all right? And we were actually talking about, we were really diving into this card and staring at it and everything, and she says to me, I don't know if this is sunrise or a sunset. And I was like, well, the rays are coming out, right? And there's never rays coming off of the sun when it's setting, but look at the colors. It's a sunset, right? But we determined that's because it's both a completion and a beginning, all right? So it says whatever just ended in your life, you need to accept that and understand that there's something else coming in to replace it. There's never a death without a rebirth. That's the law of energy, all right? So it says whatever is ending, you need to accept that. You can't turn your head the other way, okay? It's just, I mean, you can be stuck in a plateau for a long time. That's turning your cheek the other way to stuff that you need to look at. So it's basically like turn your head around, accept that overwhelming competition of all of that guidance, and understand that there's been an ending, but there will always be a new beginning. It's that surrender. It's that going with the flow. It's accepting that new wave of life, all right? So that's the completion. That's from the sacral chakra. And you're going to know. And I've been like a broken record this whole reading. It's like that intuition. It's just, look, the Lovers, the voice of the divine, the choice between two paths, whatever that may be for you. It can be literal between two lovers, whatever. But it can just literally be two paths in life. Which way do I go? I have a lot of competing guidance right now. It's just, who am I going to listen to? And you know, rest assured, whatever you decide to listen to is your path. So there's really no wrong turns. Like the whole Alice in Wonderland thing. It's like, well, if you don't know where you're going, there's no wrong turns. It's like, which way do I go? Well, do you know where you're going? No. Well, then you can't make a wrong choice, right? So you got to listen to what you want to do. And don't be so worried about that stability. I see that as holding you up, people who chose the orange sparkly gem. So, you know, be a little more fearless. Don't be crazy or reckless, but accept that ending and accept the new beginning. That's that's your message for today. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it with the crystals. If you can comment, that would be wonderful, or let me know what you thought. And again, if you want a personal reading, send me a private Facebook message. Again, that my Facebook page is Tattoos and Tarot at Gypsy Juice Tattoo. I'm going to put some instructions and whatnot on here. I'm going to update it all right now. I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I'll be doing more soon. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Love everybody. Have a wonderful day, night, whatever time it is you're watching it. Bye.